most situations, we measure how good a deal is
Hmm.
based off of two things: either a discount, like what, based off of a percentage of after repair value,
Okay.
or cash flow, right? Those two things are usually how we measure how good a deal is. And most people just don't know. And so we provide all that education and information for them.
Welcome, everybody, to the Creative Cash Flow Show. I'm your host, Jesse Mills, where every single week we bring you awesome guests and special real estate secrets and tips to help you achieve lifestyle and financial freedom. Right. And I am so pumped to bring you an awesome guest today and a new friend of mine that we've met a few months ago and keep running into the same circles. And I tell you what my friend Benson Juarez is doing is awesome. He's created amazing software. And I want you to basically intro it, Benson, and tell everybody about it, how you kind of got started with it, how you came up with it. But this is such a good time right now to have a tool like this, especially with the market as it's shifting. So,
Mhm.
Benson, welcome, man. Thank you for being on the show.
Thank you, Jesse. It's good to see your smiling face again.
Great,
Yeah, it's
thank you,
been a
man.
while since we spoke, but we've all been busy. The summer flew by.
Hmm.
We're traveling and going to events and doing vacation stuff. And you're right. Now that things are kind of settling down, people are understanding that the market is getting a little wonky,
Hmm.
right? So things have slowed down, and it's not as much of a seller's market as it once was. It's not quite a buyer's market, I don't believe yet, but it's definitely shifting closer to the middle,
Hmm.
and it's balancing things out. So there's a lot less buyers out there than there were before. And so, for a lot of people, it's just kind of the uncertainty of, I guess, finance in general, right?
Yeah.
Interest rates are going up, the stock market's volatile, crypto took a crap in the bed.
Hmm.
Um, the only thing right now that's stable and going up is like gold and precious metals, and everything else is kind of like all over the place.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. It is.
So
It's an uncertain time.
it is,
And it
yeah.
happened quick, didn't it?
It sure did. Well, and I think what triggered it all was the Fed, right? When they came in and decided they wanted to raise rates. But actually, I think it's more was fiscal policy from, the high up, just spending cash like it's going out of style, and all these different, things. And, um, I don't know where to place the blame, and I don't think we need to, but, that those kind of like, I think it was decisions made by people
Yeah. Yeah.
that has been driving this thing.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. Well, and it's funny because I was just recording an episode a little while ago and just talking about how things are shifting and what you can control, what you can't control, right? And there's a
Mhm.
lot of things that you can't control. When people have that lack of control, they get that anxiety, and it's a tough. There's a lot of anxiety in the last few years, especially since COVID, right? I think it's helpful when you are in an environment like that to find something that you can help, like, hey, I can't control what the Fed's doing, I can't control what the real estate market's doing or the stock market's doing, but I can control my actions and the tools I'm using and the people that I work with
Mhm.
that I'm learning from, right, to get in and do something that I can, again, have an influence on and a factor, right?
Right.
Which is what I love about what you're doing, is you're really helping a ton of people out there right now with your software and getting into real estate, and just again with the market shifting to have these
Oh yeah.
opportunities, which is huge. But dude, like you're a busy guy. You're speaking all over the place. You've been on a lot of stages, and you're working with a lot of awesome people in the business too, which is cool. So, tell me what else
Yeah.
you've been up to, like the summer, and where you've been at, and where you're going next.
We've been moving and shaking. We've been growing like crazy. We're forming a
Awesome.
lot of really good partnerships. There's a buzz about our system.
Yeah, dude.
Somebody told me recently, like, I know that Privy's the new hottest thing, but I've got some questions. And I was like, oh, well, that's news to me. Like they knew it. I didn't know it.
Yeah, yeah, that's
Exciting to
awesome.
hear. And I was actually at an event in Fort Lauderdale a
Mhm.
couple weeks ago, and a bunch of people were our users. So people were coming up to me, giving me big hugs, and just saying like literally people were saying, "Thank God that I found Privy."
It's
This
awesome.
one girl, she joined 3 months ago, and
Mhm.
since then she's closed over $100,000 in assignment fees from
Wow.
properties that our system found for her using the
No way.
data and the automation that we have. So when I hear the stories like that, and
That's
I talked to
insane.
another guy named Audrey, he got his very first deal from our system. It was a $10,000 assignment fee, and he's like, I would have never, it would have never happened for me because he was doing everything the old-fashioned way, what he was taught, which was, finding a list, skip tracing it, cold
Hmm.
calling it, spending money on marketing, and for probably I think 6 months he was getting zero return on those investments, and he was doing everything he was supposed to be doing.
Hmm. Hmm.
Got in our system within a week, got a property under contract, closed $10,000 check.
That's insane, dude. Wow.
I know.
Yeah, that
This is
ROI
why I
is
do it.
ridiculous. Yeah, yeah,
I
yeah.
got to meet them in person and actually see their faces.
Yeah.
And
It's
we're
awesome.
we're in growth phase, right? So
Hmm.
we were just talking about it. We wear a lot of hats,
Yes.
and so sometimes, me personally, I'm just so close to the forest or to the trees, I can't see the forest, right? You can't see the forest through the trees,
Totally.
and we just grind, and grind, and then when I get to meet people who are actually using the product and just love what it does for them, it just brings me back down and just solidifies me that we're doing the right things. Like all this work
Hmm.
and effort and the long hours and burning the candle at both ends, it's worth it.
Yeah, yeah, oh, absolutely. Yeah, and it's because you're so ingrained in what you're doing and in the minutia and in the weeds of what you're doing and building. Yeah, to meet someone like this is what I did and it's because of you and this is how this happened. That is awesome. That is so pumped.
It
Yeah.
is.
Yeah, that is killer, man. Well, and you actually it's funny just even thinking about that like was 100K in assignment fees in 3 months.
Yeah,
That's huge.
huge.
Freaking huge. That's
Insane. And
amazing.
the other interesting thing about that, they were all on market deals. So she
Wow.
wasn't spending a single dollar on lists or doing cold calling or mailing, pay per click, any kind of those off market marketing activities.
Hmm.
Finding on market deals that were at a discount based off of our comping algorithms, writing an offer, getting in a contract, and then marketing it to the buyers that we showed her in that area that were buying in that area. So all the
Mm.
ingredients were there for her. She just had to
Wow.
execute, and she did. She got these properties, and I think she's closed like 7 deals that
Wow.
time period, which
Jeez.
is crazy, right? People
Yeah.
go months and months and months without ever doing a deal, and then eventually burning out
Hmm.
because they get into this business thinking that they're going to do invest in real estate or wholesale to get to a point where they can invest,
Hmm.
but then they figure out, oh my god, I'm a salesperson, I'm
Yeah.
a marketer,
Yeah.
and most people don't know how to sell.
Correct.
And that's one of kind of the dirty truths of this business is that you're going to be more of a salesperson and a marketer than anything else. And
Hmm.
so if you're not good on the phone or you don't have the ability to get with somebody and build rapport and build trust and make them like you so they want to do business with you, they're not going to have any success in that kind of business because it's a relationship business. They're going to be
Hmm.
talking to people and you have to have the ability to build that rapport so you can eventually get to that close and say, listen, I want to buy your house. This is how much I want to buy it for. That's why I think so many people just burn out and don't execute. It's 90% plus. And
Totally.
our system gives people the ability to, well, number one, Privy it's a real estate investing software platform. We get you access to data, automation, all the technology that you need to be able to analyze your properties,
Hmm.
and with real time MLS data. That's one of the main things that separates us from our competition. Is that we've got data nationwide for kind of the standard stuff like
Hmm.
a public record and county record data, owner information, mortgage information, off market leads like foreclosures, absentee owners, and vacancies. And then also what's called third party MLS, which is basically like aggregated MLS data that some companies putting together.
Hmm.
Um, and so we've got all of that, but then we go a step above, and we're the only company doing this, is negotiating direct to MLS data contracts, so that we've got the most updated information with really, solid photos and property descriptions and updates, multiple times per hour. And then the way that we serve that data, we make it useful and actionable. So we basically have a comping algorithm that's running an analysis on every single property in the US 24/7. So at
Wow.
any given time, you can click a property and it'll build a comparative market analysis, which is basically just like a housing report for that property.
Hmm.
And then it shows you the comparables. And so, a lot of people comping is a challenge. And it's a challenge for me too. I've been in the business for 20 years. I've got MLS data for my
Hmm.
market.
Hmm.
And even me, it can take me over an hour plus to properly comp a property out. So I can only imagine what the average person out there is trying to do, and running comps or on a wholesale
There's a lot of
deal,
different ways to do it,
whatever.
right?
Yeah, and so this is
People,
again one of
yeah.
the uncertainty pieces.
Hmm.
So what that typically causes people to do is to not do anything at all,
Analysis paralysis. They're either not moving forward, they're not doing anything.
or they have to put in such a ridiculously low offer because they don't really understand the values, so they don't make a mistake. So they're throwing out lowball
Mm-hmm.
offers, and usually it's based off of like kind of a standard formula, like you've heard of the 70%
Yep.
MAO
70 of
formula.
ARV. Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, so 70% times the after repair value minus an assignment fee is what you should offer.
Mm-hmm.
And then when we run that same formula on actual deals that we know that closed, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that's one of the things that we also do that's proprietary, is that we're
Mm.
tracking every single closed deal in the whole US. And so we know what they bought it for, what they sold it for, the percentage of ARV. We've got the before and after pictures. And
Wow.
so what that does is it gives what we call local market education to our users.
Wow.
So Jesse, you're a great coach, right? You're a great mentor, but you can't tell a person like what a deal is today in September
Yeah.
in Tampa, Florida
Yeah.
versus Dallas versus Seattle,
Totally.
right?
No.
So what we can do, and this is especially valuable in a market that's changing, is giving them real-time data so you can see what a deal is today, and then
Wow.
put a better strategy together on what your offer should be.
Mm-hmm.
And it is almost always higher than that formula I just gave you. In a lot of markets, I'm seeing they're offering $100,000 less than what an actual buyer will buy a property for and flip it in that market.
Wow.
It's no wonder people can't get any deals under contract because they have no sense of what an actual deal looks like.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
that's where we fill in this gap between the theory
Mm-hmm.
of real estate investing and the actual nuts and bolts of getting a deal done. That local market education fills that gap so they know what a deal is, and then they can properly execute their strategy, whether it's wholesale, fix and flip, creative deal structure, slow flips,
Yeah. Yeah.
um, short-term rentals or long-term
Mm-hmm.
rentals. All of those things, well, not all of them. In most situations, we measure how good a deal is
Mm-hmm.
based off of two things: either a discount, like what, based off of a percentage of after repair value,
Okay.
or cash flow, right? Those two things are usually how we measure how good a deal is. And most people just don't know. And so we provide all that education and information for them.
That's an amazing amount of stuff that you guys are finding and putting together. And like you said, too, in a proprietary way, which is really cool, right? So you're
We actually have
taking
a patent pending on it too. We filed a
nice.
patent.
Sweet, sweet.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd say you better, better be all over that with some of the stuff you're doing. So you're taking stuff so this is all stuff on the MLS, but then it's also solds that maybe weren't on the MLS. Did I catch that right? If it
Oh, it's
wasn't on
it's
there, it's
everything.
every sold.
It's every sold. It's every transaction. So whether they bought it off market
Yep,
and sold it on market, or they bought it off and sold it off, or they bought
mhm.
it on and sold it on,
It's all of it.
we have all the data, right? So
Yeah.
we just have to curate it in a way. And so that's another thing that we help people understand too, is that there's this misconception that you can't get deals off the MLS.
Hmm.
Where we hired a data analytics team we're going through all the data, and we've had our first few markets come out, and it's about 62% of every successful deal is coming from the MLS.
62%.
Hmm.
Wow. So a majority are coming from there.
A good majority, right? It's not
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
barely over.
Yeah.
And so for those people who are believing the hype
Hmm.
and they are ignoring on market deals, well, they're missing out on more than half the properties that are already out there that could be good deals that other people are buying. So they're putting themselves in a hole before they even start, for the simple fact of where they're targeting their leads.
Okay, so I got to play devil's advocate and pretend I'm the normal agent out there, right? Again,
Sure.
you know me. I am an agent. I'm a licensed agent, but I'm
Mhm.
not the normal agent. It's not what we do with our business. But
Right.
so you got to get from people like, well, I can see everything that's out there, right? And I can look, and my clients don't want anything because they've seen it already, right? Do you ever hear that? And how do you am I thinking I've seen everything, but I really haven't, or I don't even know really how to compare it? Like you said, it's how do you take that data and how do you actually look at it?
Well, I think that, but people aren't looking. This is what I think is
You
happening.
just don't
They
think they're
think
even
they're.
looking. Period. They're only looking for off market stuff, not
I
even
think a lot
realizing
of
it's
people
there.
are only looking for off market.
Hmm.
The other thing that I've come to the conclusion is that there's way more competition
Hmm.
for off market properties than there are on market. And let me explain here what my rationale, because I don't have data on it,
Okay.
is because when you write an offer on an on market property, there's usually some sort of justification. Like, you have to get prepared, qualified to be able to write an offer, right? You have to
Hmm.
put some certain things in place, like you want to have enough liquidity to do an earnest money deposit. You're going to have a proof of funds letter.
Hmm.
You're going to have to make a relationship with a real estate agent, and then you're going to have to go out there and start, actually feel like you can get stuff on the MLS, right?
Hmm.
For off market, the guy who got in the business yesterday is writing an offer on the same property as someone that's been doing it for 20 years, because they're all targeting the same lists. So if you go and you buy a foreclosure list and you've got it, Jesse, for Oklahoma City,
Hmm.
every other wholesaler, fix and flipper, creative deal structure guy has that same list, and they're all attacking it. And so this is why when you go into the kitchen of somebody who's in foreclosure, they got a stack of postcards on their table this high.
Right.
How are they going to decide who to work with? Right? What, the most colorful one, the one that has red ink and not blue, the one that has a letter with a little window in it versus a postcard. Like, who knows? There's just so many variables.
Totally.
And so the competition there, the person that's working with them, they don't know the difference between all of those, right? They don't know if someone's brand new or if they've got 20 years.
Right.
Somebody who has a property that's on market, they're dealing with people who have gone through the process to be qualified to go write an offer on that property. This is why I believe there's more competition for off market properties.
Hmm. I've never really thought about it that way, but I mean that does make a lot of sense. Well, and especially too the market for those types of properties, right? For sure, right? The clean, pretty houses, right? That people will be going after that are not necessarily an investment type of property. That's where you have the huge competition, right? And again, that's not even the same now as it was a couple months ago, and then
Mm-hmm.
earlier in the year for sure. Like it's all changed, right? But that's where you've got your 10, 15, 20, 30 people who are coming above asking for that, but they're not going after the stuff that they're not even probably looking for on the MLS. And again, that instead of them having to go hunt for it, your system is finding it and saying, wait, and look at this one first before you look at that one, and bringing it right to you based pretty much what on your criteria and what you want it to bring you. Is that right?
Yeah, you tell the system what you're looking for, but you don't do it just based off of, again, some kind of universal formula or what it is. It's based off of what the buyers in that market are willing to buy. So I just got off of a training that we did with Jamil Damji,
Mm-hmm.
and we had a live training, and we were teaching people on how to go and find deals. And the first thing we did is we plotted on the map all the investor activity for
Mm-hmm.
the whole entire U.S. And so that helped us choose which market we were going to go into. So we were going to avoid markets like Montana, South Dakota, Kansas, most of like these areas that are kind of northern, middle America.
Mm-hmm.
No one's doing deals out there. And we know that because the data shows us that there's just big gaps in data.
Mm-hmm.
So you target what are called high investor activity areas, where the ingredients to build a deal are located. And so we target these areas. So we found an area in St. Petersburg, Florida. So
Mm-hmm.
that was one of the hotter markets. There was something like, 2,000 deals that have been closed in that area in the last 12 months. Now, for some people, they would be like, well, I don't want to go to an area where there's lots of activity because that creates more competition.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
That's a scarcity mentality.
Mm.
In
Okay.
reality, every one of those people, number one, is potential JV partner, but also those are your comps. So if you have no competition, you've got no comps. You can't prove after repair value if none of the properties in the area you're looking for a deal have been flipped.
True. Very true.
At that point, the values in that neighborhood are being determined based off of unrenovated homes. So if someone targets that area with, marketing
Mm-hmm.
for off-market deals, or they go to do on-market, they're not going to be able to make the numbers work. Or if they do say get someone to call them back off of a mailing campaign,
Mm-hmm.
and that person comes there, well, they have to write such a low ball offer because all the values in that neighborhood are based off of unrenovated homes. The values are low. So they have to write a low offer to get the same margins to work. But if you
Mm-hmm.
target a high investor activity area, well, you got higher values, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because the values are driven by fix and flips.
Yep.
And guess what? It pulls the back end up. So now the same margins in the middle all works, and you can make a higher offer that's more realistic and has a higher chance of being accepted from the simple strategy of just targeting high investor activity areas. Now, how do we, not target, but solve the problem of competition?
Mm-hmm.
Well, you use data, you use automation, and you get there first with an offer that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
I can solve for that by being better. I can't solve for there being no comps. If
Absolutely.
there's no comps, there's no comps. We
Right.
can't create them.
Yeah. And now you're guessing and you're just hoping, guessing, and with this, you've got your numbers because there's so much data there to look at.
Yep. And then it's
Yeah.
just a
Makes
matter of
sense.
then just getting the offers out. And then if you use one of our strategies is using the algorithms to target on market deals,
Mm-hmm.
which you can still wholesale, you can still do creative deal financing, you can still a lot of other things. There's still a lot of misconception out there that you can't do that with on market. You absolutely can. I was telling you about Ruchinka, that when they closed $100,000 from on market deals, the first 3 months she was using Privy.
It's insane. 100 grand in 3 months.
So it absolutely works.
That's nuts.
It's a shift in
Yeah.
your mindset and knowing that number one, it's possible, and then just putting a few things in place. Like you can get a lender letter, proof of funds from anyone, any hard money lender. You can get that stuff online. It's really easy to get.
Yeah.
And then earnest money, there's lots of strategies there that you can use, even if you don't have a lot of liquidity to still be able to write offers, but just really like paying attention to the dates and deadlines and the negotiating ability with the contract, where you may never even have to put earnest money down as long as the numbers make sense and you've got buyers lined up
Yeah.
if you're doing a wholesale deal, and then
Yep.
they would put it down for you. So
Man.
it absolutely works, and you can go in there and use the automation. And most of the people listening to this podcast probably aren't doing real estate full time,
Yep.
so they have to figure out a way to get full time results by doing it part time and nights and weekends, and then little bits of non-contiguous time. So you got 15 minutes here, and then you got an hour tomorrow, and maybe you got 2 hours on Saturday. It's almost impossible to build a systematic approach that has predictable results and are consistent with that approach. So the only way to bridge that gap to where you're really successful and you feel comfortable losing your job, quitting your job and going doing it full time, and where they're at right now, is one of two things: either leveraging automation
Mm-hmm.
or hiring somebody to do it, like a VA or somebody who can be constantly doing all the activities on a day-to-day basis that need to be done to get the outcome that they want, which is making money.
Yeah. Yeah. And I'm a big fan of that. I preach that all the time, right? And you shouldn't be wearing all the hats and doing it all yourself. You also should know how to do it though before you teaching someone else and training someone else.
Oh
So you're
yeah.
teaching them and training them the right way, not the wrong way. But absolutely. So what you're, if I hear you right, you're saying that this number one, you don't necessarily need that other stuff because it's helping you by the automation, right, and by the technology in itself. But
Hmm.
if you do have a team, you can even go another level from there and then disperse it and have them help you with it, right?
Oh yeah, 100%. One of
Yeah.
our what's probably our most successful user, he's out of Chicago. He's closed 350 deals from Privy in the last 12 months.
350.
350 deals.
Dang.
Now, he's got a team of people who do acquisition. He's got a team of people that do disposition. and he's got all different sources of those deals. Some of them, he's an agent. So he gives some of those deals to his clients. He does a lot of them himself. He does wholesale. He does buy and hold. He does all the different strategies. So you can absolutely do it. And you talked about scaling. Like, yeah, you can scale with this,
Wow.
but you have to have it figured out first. Like you've got
Exactly.
to have that process that works, and you know how to write the proper offers, analyze them quickly, be effective and efficient, and then scale, which he's been able to do.
Sheesh. Good for him.
Yeah, no
That's
kidding.
that's a crew. We might have to talk about this cat offline. I need a good guy down in Chicago.
Oh yeah, he's great to work with.
Yeah, yeah. Wow. And he's probably not doing a lot of what we do, but it sounds like he for sure could. Sounds like he could definitely integrate it with what he's already doing.
Oh yeah, it'd be a good
Yeah.
person to partner with too. I'm sure he's got opportunities for you and the people that you are working with, your students and your audience.
Yeah, yeah, I would guess. I'd guess. And I was actually thinking at the beginning, kind of too, Benson, there's a friend of mine who I just had on my podcast, I don't know, maybe last month, a few weeks ago. But a lot of what she does is she helps people get their first deal done. So she's all about, she's not at that part, scaling and teams, and she's really just getting people, past the shiny object syndrome and analysis paralysis and just getting your first deal done, getting that confidence of like, I can do it, I did it, and let's go to the next. And she's got a really good network of people that I should introduce you to her too, because
That'd be
she,
amazing.
yeah, yeah. I mean that, and what you have and what you're offering would help someone so much with that. And again, you just, it's crazy. And there's little tools out there and shortcuts. And if you don't know it, you can still get the same success someone else is doing, but man, you can do it faster and
Mhm.
easier when you've got the right tools and systems and people to work with. And it's way more fun. And and yeah,
Oh,
there's some
absolutely.
crazy numbers of what they're doing, man.
Yeah, and those aren't like typical, right? Those aren't typical
Sure, of
numbers.
course. Yeah, yeah,
But again, when with talking to people and like, I got my first deal with you, right? Or
yeah.
for some people, one of my guys, he was doing just a few deals a year, and he's like, but now with Privy, I feel confident in my comps, right? So
Mm-hmm.
now I'm comping all my properties out with Privy, and I
Mm-hmm.
feel comfortable with that. I know it's the same data that agents and appraisers use. So he now feels a lot more comfortable taking action because he's more confident in his numbers and that
Mm-hmm.
he's getting the right offer out there so that he can make money and he's not wasting anyone's time.
Yeah. Well, and I was going to say, so even with those same few deals he's doing, let's say it's a handful, I would assume he's probably more profitable on those, hopefully, because of knowing his numbers and where he's at, right?
Yeah.
So he's probably either doing those with less time and effort than he would have before, or maybe making more money on those than he would have before because of it, which either way is both good in my book.
Oh, yeah,
I'll take either or both. You know what I mean?
definitely. Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's the other thing I found, and I'm hearing this from people too, is that like we're making it fun again. Like there's just so much stress and
Mhm.
uncertainty and anxiety. We were talking about that earlier
Yeah.
around this business that it isn't fun. So they don't enjoy doing it. They don't like doing it. We get people who start to have some success, wins, and things get easier, and you start to like kind of see all the dots connecting and like I'm working towards something.
Hmm.
Maybe I haven't closed my first deal, but I got 5 offers out and I'd never done that before,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Where I got my first deal under contract and it fell out because of I didn't have enough buyers. But shoot, I got that done. So now you're just kind of building on these wins along the way, and it starts to be fun again. We had one user, his name's Carl. He told me that using Privy was like waking up on Christmas and getting a new Xbox and just wanting to play the game like all day.
That's
And
awesome.
and he was just like, I'd roll over in the morning, open up my laptop, and check my email inbox to see what presents Privy sent me that overnight. And he's just like getting in there and checking in. And Jesse, it's almost like playing a video game because
Yeah.
you can literally just sit at your computer, leverage the data, the tools you're going through,
Mhm.
you're submitting offers. And I have a guy who set up I don't know how he did it, but he uses his Xbox or his PlayStation, I don't know which,
Mhm.
as his computer, and he uses a remote control to navigate the web pages and all that stuff he does on his just with a normal computer
Yeah.
from his game controller.
No way.
Yeah, I'm like, man, that's literally now using you playing it as a game.
That
But
is insane.
I'm saying
Yeah.
like it feels like a game because it's fun, it's interactive, the data's there, you can take action,
Mm-hmm.
and all from the safety of your own home. Still, people are kind of concerned with, COVID, so that's one perk. But
Mm-hmm.
just more and more people now want to do stuff from home. They want to work from home. They want to be able to make money from home.
Mm-hmm.
And our,
Mm-hmm.
our software is a base, like a really effective way of doing that.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I was gonna say, and it's funny because I had the same feeling. First time I saw it, and I was back in there, and I'm like, oh my god, I just want to start calling everybody. I want to start looking at everything, and it's you have to look and say so much freaking opportunity here, and you want to go hunting, And it's like if you're a hunter, which ironically I'm not a true hunter. My friends or family would laugh if I even said that. But being in the woods and there's nothing but freaking deer everywhere, and there's no one else but you, right? And you're like, let's
Right.
roll, right? So I mean, and that's a great analogy that he uses with Christmas morning and wondering what other presents are there because they're there.
Yeah.
It's just in front of you and you have access to it through it. So, um, tell me a few ways. Here's what I'd love to know is who's kind of some of the different clientele using this? Who's the different, because we've got investors who are just brand new, some who are just even getting in the game, just thinking about it, getting started. They're not even there yet. We've got other people that have been, very experienced, have a lot under their belt, big portfolios. We've got people with commercial, we've got short-term rentals, we've got agents,
Hmm.
real estate agents, lenders, people who just want to be an entrepreneur. So we've got a nice awesome audience in different areas. What kind of people are using the Privy the most and having the most success? And then to follow up to that question, so when you say like taking action, once you find some deals, and obviously this is a podcast, but we're also on YouTube. So I mean, if you wanted to even do some examples, we could walk through of some stuff. I'm open to it, or we could do it in another episode. But let's talk about some ways of how we got this lead. We got again, like the deer is in the field in the forest. We
Hmm.
got this thing. Now, what are we doing next with it, right? And because you talked about making it so easy, which I know you can. So, two-parter.
Yeah. Well, I guess the first part is like, who are the users? Now, I think we've got the whole spectrum of people who've never done a deal to people like Christian in Chicago who are, close 350, right? So
It's
even
awesome.
people who are just closing a ton of deals are having a lot of success with our system because of the systematic approach, right? So being able to scale, if you're using automation, then that allows you to do more with less time and less money, right?
Completely.
So
Yes.
high producing operators who are doing a lot of deals, love it. And then there's people who at the very beginning of their career, they just, they were searching the internet for how to make money online, and they stumble across a YouTube video, and the next thing in there, they're watching Robert Allen do a YouTube video on how to find leads with no money down, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And all of a sudden they got the bug, right? Oh my
Yeah.
God. And then they're going on, they're watching all these videos on YouTube, and now
Yep.
they're like, okay, I'm going to do this. What's the first steps? And then they maybe go and buy someone's course, and now they figure out they need the data and the tools. And so that's a lot of people come in that way. They've never done a deal. And so that's a good size portion. And then it's people in the middle who've like had some meaningful success,
Mm-hmm.
but they're not to a scaling point yet. They're just kind of still perfecting their process, figuring out where they can pivot and be more effective to get a better ROI on their time and their money. So
Mm-hmm.
those people too. Now, as far as the exit strategy, I like to say that we're exit strategy agnostic.
Nice.
So this isn't for a particular approach.
Like you
So
can't. It's not just a flipper, not just a wholesaler, not just a buy and hold landlord. It's not
absolutely.
any one of just those.
Exactly. It's
Yeah.
not any one of those. So it is all of them. And
Mm-hmm.
every property, honestly, too, doesn't fit just one strategy. So it fits into other buckets. So if you find a
Yeah.
property in Privy and it's at 75% of the ARV. So it doesn't have enough meat on the bone for it to be a wholesale deal.
Mm-hmm.
But there's money in the neighborhood where there's evidence in the neighborhood that this thing is renting out for $1,800 a month, right? So like, oh shoot, the mortgage on this thing would only be 14. That's $400 cash flow. That would
Mm-hmm.
make a good burr property for somebody.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Or maybe it's just a long-term rental with a little bit of cleanup, and that's now that. Or you look at that neighborhood and you're like, oh my God, the Airbnb rates for this area are, $200 a night. Now I can bring in, you know, I don't know, $3,000 a month, right?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
double what I was going to make if I did a normal rental.
Yeah.
And oh my God, I got it at a discount too. So if there's a dip in the market,
Mhm.
or I want to borrow against that property and do another deal, I can do that because I've got some equity there.
Nice. So
And then,
you
of
can
course,
you
your
can see
standard
all
fix
of
and
that.
flip or wholesale. Yeah, it's all there.
Yeah.
Now, we are going to be adding in Airbnb data later on this year for Privy, so that
Oh, beautiful.
you're going to be able to, find the areas that have, the highest rates, maybe lowest vacancy rates. There's a really good product out there that does that now, who's kind of dominates the space, but where they stop at
Hmm.
analyzing the property. You can't find properties to buy. So we're going to be taking it from A to Z. We're going to show you the
Nice.
data so you can figure out where the right
So I
rates
think I
are
know
at.
who you're talking about, right? And
Yeah.
yeah,
And then at
but
that point, you have to go find. So we're going to be like, okay, cool. Here's all of the properties. Now, Privy, go out there and find me houses just like these. And then you just duplicate it. So you've got a
yeah.
model that we're building based off of the data they have, kind of like we do for fix and flip and for
Hmm.
wholesale. We're going
Yeah.
to have that same thing for long-term and short-term rentals.
Dude, I love it. I love it. That's awesome. Well, and I were
Yep.
talking at the beginning here, maybe before we went live, that you guys are growing your team big, right? You guys are investing a lot into your team, into your resources, and so being
Hmm.
able to be nimble like that and add those different things and tweak it how you need to is super, super crucial. And I know you guys are doing that. And yeah, that's man, such an awesome opportunity because some people have, yeah, they have part of it, but they don't have all of it. And then to go, hey, let's go find it, let's go get this property. That's killer.
Oh yeah, it's fun too to see the things grow because we were talking about how we're just working so hard. It's really hard to see
Hmm.
too far ahead. And when you see like these immediate things like, oh my God, we're hiring people to come
Hmm.
on and just help the team grow and be more effective. Right now, we've got over 60 direct to MLS data contracts.
Okay.
We just got another 20 approved in the last few weeks,
Oh
and
wow.
the plan is to add another 50 in the next 5 months. So we'll have about 80% of the whole entire populated US covered with that direct to MLS data, which is what nobody else is doing, right? So this, oh, and actually lends to the thing you mentioned earlier about agents. Like a lot of our users are agents.
Mm.
The MLS is not designed for running comps. It's not designed for finding deals. It's basically a way for agents to list properties and get them into the same database so other agents can see them, right? And
Right.
then once a property sells, they put it back in the MLS so you can get comps.
Hmm.
That's what it's designed to do.
Yeah.
But comping a property is still a very manual process. Analyzing a property for an investment possibility,
Hmm.
this is why most agents don't do investment deals because they don't know what a deal looks like. They don't understand it.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. It throws them and it boggles their mind, and they don't know what data to look at and how to look at it. And you're right. It's not conducive at all to figuring that out. It's just kind of there.
Yeah, definitely.
Hmm.
So that we got a big thing coming out in the next probably 2 to 3 months where we're we also track all the activity that agents are involved in. So you're going to be able to search in Privy for, show me every agent that's closed
Mm.
10 fix and flips in the last year.
Mm.
So then you can search that out and it'll show you who those agents were and have links to each flip that they helped the client close. So you can see the data about that property. You can see what
Wow.
they bought it for, what they sold it for, the gross margins. And then if that agent is somebody you want to work with to write an offer
Hmm.
or to list a property, then you can reach out to them. But nobody else is tracking the investment side of the data. It's just like you go to Zillow, it's just like, okay, here's a Zillow agent. Well,
Yeah.
have
Yeah.
they done any business? Who knows?
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
With this, you're gonna be able to see like active listings, sold, regular sold sales, fix and flips they represented,
Hmm.
and then really target investors who can help you in your real estate business because most don't understand it. So you want to work with somebody who's investor friendly.
Yeah, that's huge. That is awesome. Well, and then as far as how people are buying, right? Again, I know you're doing that, right? So if I want to find people who are just doing cash, I can do that. If I want to find people who are just doing financing, right? Kind of doing the typical way, we can find people that way too, right?
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a bunch of different filters you can use. Like you said, mentioned like cash. You can target distressed properties, ones that are in foreclosure. You could target people who are absentee owners. So maybe you're looking for landlords, maybe who want to sell properties off market, or if you're an agent, you want to target people who are likely to do a listing for you.
Hmm.
Absentee owners are great right now. A lot of them are selling properties. There's a bunch of different things you can target, as far as
Yeah.
on market, off market. The filters are there. It makes it completely customizable.
That's awesome, man. That is beautiful. So if someone wants to come find you and get going with this, where's the best place for them to find you, Benson?
Well, I think two places. The first thing is our website is getprivynow.com. That's GETPRIVY, like you're privy to information,
Hmm.
now.com, getprivynow.com, or just do a Privy Real Estate on YouTube, and it'll come up with our YouTube channel. And I got a bunch of training videos on there to teach you how to use data. Some of the strategies that we teach don't have anything to do with Privy. It's just about like leveraging data in a proper way and
Hmm.
making it actionable and effective. And so, you don't even have to be a Privy user to learn some things from our YouTube channel or even from our website. But if you use the tool, it's just going to be so much easier, so much more streamlined. You're going to get a lot of your time back. And one of the I think, most valuable benefits that comes out of it is confidence. Like being able to feel confident in knowing what a deal looks like,
Hmm.
being able to write an offer that has a good chance of getting accepted, and then the ability to do it over and over again because now you know the system works.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Well, and I was going to say right before you mentioned the YouTube channel, I was going to say you guys are doing a lot of killer content on there, putting a lot of cool stuff out. And yeah, just especially with any kind of software, right? People got to say, okay, how is it getting used, and get like a nice little quick, like what can I do with it, right? And then diving in, and so that's so powerful to get in and see all the different ways. And oh, well, I'm doing maybe these three or four things, but I didn't even think about these ways of doing it,
Oh
right?
yeah.
Yeah, yeah, that's
Yeah, you
awesome.
don't know what you don't know. And
Exactly.
so just getting there and watching, there's so much good content on YouTube. I mean, it's
Hmm.
it's insane. But it is like the shiny object. Like you can go down a rabbit hole, and
Yeah.
next thing you know, you're watching, dogs, save people out of a river. Like I found this one video one day. I'm like, how did I get here? It was I had a little tear because it was so inspirational. But you just never know what you're going to find
You're
there. So
like,
be
I
very
started
focused.
out with hammers at Home Depot, and now I'm watching a dog rescue somebody, and I'm crying.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. How did we get there? I don't know.
Right. So
Yeah,
there's
the YouTube
there's really
rabbit
good
trail.
content there, really good education. Just go there
Yeah,
knowing what you're looking for, and then be focused on what it is because you can waste a lot of time there too.
yeah, 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 yeah. Well, and that's just it, is knowing what do you need in your business to help you accelerate and to move along, right? To get your deals, however you're doing it. And then don't necessarily worry about all the other stuff it can do, right? For now, at least, just worry about what you need it to do and get in and learn that real quick. So, yeah, it's an amazing software, and I've used it. My students have used it. We are using it, and we use it a little differently. I think actually be pretty fun to maybe do a training for our group if that's something that we could ever line up with you and get something
Oh
scheduled. I
yeah,
mean, we'd be super fun, man. Super fun.
definitely. We can do a follow up. Yeah, definitely time because there's some building of what you're looking at and that stuff. And so we would definitely. I'd love to do a live training and show people how they can leverage data and technology and automation to have some massive success in the business for sure.
Yeah, that would be awesome, but I'd love that. Because there's and as we've gone through it before, I'm like, oh, I didn't think about this, but wait a minute, what if we go that way? Hold on, I didn't think about that, but what if we try that? And there's just again, it's like the tree, and what can you pluck? Because you keep finding more things that are there that can be so helpful. and fruitful, pun intended. But there's a lot you can do with it, and it's not just the one or two things you might think it is, So that is killer. So okay, so getprivynow.com,
Mhm.
Privy, getprivynow.com, or Privy Real Estate on YouTube. Top two places. I love it. I think we'll definitely do some specific trainings. It'd be fun. And if you're not using this, if you haven't looked at it, guys, you got to get it and try it out. Get in there, and I mean, just you might get sucked in a little bit. It's okay. And it's sucked in because it's going to start giving you what you need.
And
It sounds like
what we'll do
a pitch
too
for a
is,
drug commercial, but it's not.
oh, I know.
It's going to get you what you need though on the real estate side, and start
And for
making things
those of you
happen.
that do decide to sign up, if you use the promo code Jesse, Jesse, I'll give you a 20% discount on your first month. So
Dude.
if you just do promo code Jesse, then I'll make sure you get a discount, and then also some additional kind of some bonuses and some additional training.
Oh man, thank you for that. You don't have to do that, but
Yeah,
I'll
you're
take it.
welcome. Yes,
Yeah, we'll take it. I can't say no. I can't say no to the audience here, but thanks, man. I appreciate that.
you got it. No problem.
That's awesome. Okay, well, a no-brainer is an even bigger no-brainer. Get lined up. And here's the other thing too. I want to kind of make a mention of this. So I don't normally like to date our episodes and stuff like that, but as of the time of this recording, folks, right, we are entering kind of a slowing down time of the year, right? Not quite yet, but we're going to get there soon. And then this is the time when people just, I don't get it. I've never really understood it since I've been in the game for 20 years. But it's like, oh, well, it's the holidays and it's fall and it's winter. And,
Mhm.
I'll come back in January, all ready to go. Just, like people in fitness, right? Like, guys, this is such a great time to get in, learn this, play with it, use it. And there's opportunities because other people are just getting lazy, man. They're coasting, which, whether they deserve it or not, even if you do deserve to coast, they don't, right? But
Right. Yeah, they're
get in
not.
and get that stuff.
Yeah, they're in that position because they're hustlers and they do all the hard work and they don't take breaks, right?
Right? Yeah.
So yeah, this is a good opportunity. You're exactly right, Jesse, to get more deals. You're gonna have less competition for the simple fact of the market slowing down, and then the time of year stacked on top of that. It's going to be even additional opportunities for you. So if you're an action taker and you want to hustle, the next 3 months are going to be super valuable for you guys to go out there and
Yes.
take action.
Yeah, 100%, 100%. And you got some wicked tools now to use to help you get more stuff done faster and easier. So
Hmm.
thank Mr. Benson Juarez for helping provide that and get that to you. And dude,
Thank
Benson,
you
thank you
for
so
having
much.
me.
Yeah, man. Thanks for being here, and thanks for the discount and the promo. That's super awesome. So we'll hop on another call here soon, and we'll get something lined up here specifically for our group and how we're doing things with our business. And I think that'd be awesome. I appreciate that.
Oh, it's been my pleasure, Jesse. I thank you for having me on, and it was a lot of fun. Thank you so much.